Right now at 6, new details in the shooting death of a Portland convenience store clerk. What we're learning tonight about the young suspects.
Plus, taking the term flying high to new heights, how much marijuana was seized by TSA at PDX.
And later in sports, a new pro team in town where you'll be able to catch the Portland Cascade.
Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. First here at 6, a 12-year-old and 15-year-old boy have been arrested. They are charged with killing a Southeast Portland convenience store clerk.
Let's bring in Celine Stevens live at the Clark County Courthouse with our top story. Celine?
David and Christine, Portland police confirmed that those two boys were arrested in Vancouver on Wednesday, and they're now being held here at the Juvenile Justice Center for murder, as well as numerous other charges, with some related to criminal behavior that happened here in Washington. Wednesday, Portland police, Vancouver police, and Clark County Regional SWAT arrested a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old in Vancouver in connection to the shooting that left Santi Rai dead on December 9th at his job at 3D's Market.
I don't know what Santi did to make him mad. All it takes is you, I don't know what goes through you, to just like pick up a gun and shoot someone.
Those two boys both facing numerous charges, including murder in the first degree for the 12-year-old and murder in the second degree for the 15-year-old.
I saw the police right after it happened come down with all the cars. Come here all the time. It's a family-run business, great people, pillar of the community.
The boys had their first court appearance Thursday morning, where they were also charged with additional crimes. Some of those crimes including unlawful possession of a firearm and possession of a stolen firearm and stolen motor vehicle. According to court documents, the two were also involved in a shooting on December 12th in Vancouver, with the 15-year-old appearing to have a gunshot wound to the back of his head, but he was still able to speak. He and the 12-year-old, who was also injured, were found with a stolen car with firearms inside. It was unclear what exactly took place that led up to their injuries. The two were eventually arrested following a search warrant along Northeast 49th Street about a month later. So Clark County's juvenile deputy prosecuting attorney confirmed that both boys are being held without bail. Now, according to the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office, the two boys are going to have to go through the whole process in the Washington court system before they can be extradited to Oregon and then begin the process there. That process could take months. Back to you.
Celine Stevens live in Vancouver tonight. Thanks, Celine.
To Lincoln County now, where a helicopter crashed this morning in a rural area about 6 miles from Siletz.
Pretty incredible pictures of that wreckage here. We've now learned the pilot was not seriously hurt and no structures in the area were damaged. John Adams filed this update from the crash site.
We are right next to mile marker 3 on Moonshine Park Road in a very rural part of Lincoln County. Crews have been out here for much of the day on the scene of a helicopter crash. The Lincoln County Sheriff's Office confirmed that the helicopter crashed here earlier this morning. We have seen crews out here since roughly 2:15 when we arrived on scene. We were able to glimpse a tail number on the helicopter. The helicopter is a Bell 206L3 registered to Weyerhaeuser. The company has released a statement saying the pilot is safe and only sustained minor injuries and that it's working with officials to figure out what led up to the crash. We're expecting to hear more information from the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office at some point tonight. In Lincoln County, John Adams, KGW News.
In your headlines tonight, federal prosecutors have indicted 20 people, including 15 former college basketball players, in connection with a basketball game fixing scandal. According to the indictments, those involved rigged college games in the U.S. and pro basketball games in China. The charges include bribery in sports, wire fraud, and aiding and abetting.
They did so with carefully orchestrated FaceTime calls to obscure and prevent their communications from being intercepted and recorded.
One of the people indicted is Jalen Terry, who played one season of college basketball as a guard for the Ducks in 2021. That was before prosecutors say the scheme reached the NCAA, which they allege occurred between 2023 and 2025.
In Minneapolis, President Trump is threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act and bring the military to the city. This as tension rises after a federal agent shot and injured a man last night. Homeland Security says it happened as they were trying to arrest a Venezuelan migrant. Authorities say multiple people attacked the agent with a shovel and broom handle, and eventually the agent fired a shot, hitting the man in the leg. The shooting came 1 week after an ICE agent shot and killed Renee Good.
An Oregon City man who killed his girlfriend and dumped her body in the woods has now been sentenced to life in prison. 56-year-old William Blake admitted to shooting 38-year-old Jennifer Stewart at his home in August. Prosecutors say Blake then drove to Home Depot where he bought a tote, garbage bags, and gloves, and then dumped Stewart's remains on Forest Service land. In court, the victim's mother calling Blake a, quote, rabid, savage beast.
To Scappoose now, where 2 people are facing charges after police found dead tortoises while serving a search warrant for a shooting investigation. Police say the investigation along Northwest Manor Drive began earlier this year. When officers searched the home yesterday, they found the tortoises along with 2 other neglected turtles and also multiple guns. 45-year-old Daniel Salvi faces gun charges, while 43-year-old Casey Satchel is charged with felony animal neglect.
And a new poll commissioned by the Portland Metro Chamber shows that many residents believe the region is headed in the wrong direction. That number jumped nearly 9% compared to 2024. And while homelessness remains a major issue in voters' minds, it is no longer at the top of the list. That spot now belongs to affordability. Coming up at 6:30, a closer look at whether Portlanders are feeling any better when it comes to the future, and see the neighborhood seeing a much more positive trend when it comes to public opinion. Developing tonight, Oregon's legislature will have its hands full next month in the short session trying to figure out the future of transportation funding.
Tim Gordon is here now with us to explain. Tim, all this uncertainty could have a big trickle-down impact on people.
Yeah, you know, and ODOT's got a familiar message here. They say that without more support, services staffing cuts are coming. The Department of Transportation says it has a funding gap of $242 million for the 2025-27 budget cycle. It's less than a previous estimate, of a $350 million shortfall, but the end result is still bleak, according to the agency, with a reduction of more than 1,000 positions. That means reduced services from road maintenance to DMV services. Some legislators suggest ODOT needs more flexibility, as the agency is currently mandated to keep costs for operations and maintenance to 6% of its budget, with the vast majority of spending earmarked for new construction projects where costs have skyrocketed.
It is the legislature that directed ODOT to spend all this money on capital projects that has now sucked up all the money and pulled it away from operations and maintenance.
So I think that that's something that we should continue to look at as you're explaining all of these cost increases and why it's so expensive. Perhaps not all of them are absolutely necessary, and we don't need them to be that expensive.
Well, remember, Democrats passed a funding package for transportation last session, but Republicans got the signatures they needed to put the issue to voters in November. Then Governor Tina Kotek called for the bill to be repealed so lawmakers could start over on ODOT funding this upcoming short session. You know, this has been an issue that's really divided Democrats and Republicans. We'll see if they can come together with some sort of compromise when the session starts February 4th. Back to you.
Appreciate you looking into this. Thanks, Tim. From Oregon's legislature to Washington's ledge, where several sheriffs are pushing back against a new bill.
Senate Bill 5974 would add new statewide requirements for sheriffs, including age minimums, years of law enforcement experience, and county-funded background checks. Supporters say it sets consistent standards, but some sheriffs argue this goes too far. For example, if a sheriff's certification is revoked, a new commission could remove the sheriff from office rather than through a recall by voters.
Removes their ability to decide. It places it on a group of unelected individuals that, in large part, a lot of them are not even law enforcement.
There has been so much state overreach, in particular into law enforcement. This is just another extreme measure by the state to have control.
Last year, a similar House bill never made it out of committee. Another hearing for this Senate bill is scheduled for next week.
KGW News at 6 continues in just 2 minutes with new numbers from PDX on just how much marijuana TSA seized last year.
With suitcases and all that, realistically, you just never really know what people got in there.
Plus, details on Habitat for Humanity's new effort in Southwest Portland after an anonymous donor was inspired by Pope Leo. Orlando, what you got for us tonight?
More roster news for the Oregon Ducks. The top 2 jobs on Dan Lanning's coaching staff are set. Plus, the Portland Timbers are already back to work. Why this year's approach will be much different than last season. Sports is on deck.
And today a lot different than yesterday with a clear sky, no more fog in the Portland area for quite a while. We're 48 degrees. East wind took care of that. The east wind will continue to blow quite strongly. We'll talk about whether or not we see any rain and mountain snow next week.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
Welcome back. Hundreds of travelers pass through PDX each day, with airport security working to confiscate really anything that might pose a danger.
You always wonder what they find. Right now, new data shows just how much marijuana was seized last year. Thomas Schultz has the numbers.
Well, we asked the Port of Portland just how much marijuana they seized last year. 1,500 pounds nearly was the number that they told us, and that's just from Port of Portland officers. That doesn't include TSA agents or any marijuana seized that might have gone through TSA through carry-on luggage or anything like that. Now, here's the thing. While marijuana is legal in Oregon, it is not allowed on airplanes because that is federal authority run by the FAA and has different regulations. We asked some people here at PDX yesterday what they thought about nearly 1,500 pounds of marijuana being seized last year. We found plenty of mixed reaction.
Yeah, I'm surprised with suitcases and all that. Realistically, you just never really know like what people got in there or anything like that too. So 1,500 pounds, 30 different cases, that is pretty surprising for sure.
Are you surprised it's that much?
Not really. I mean, it's Oregon, I guess.
And all those drugs are stemming from just 30 different cases. That's what Port of Portland spokesperson tells us. Now, here's the thing. We crunched some numbers and we found that equates to just under 50 pounds per case of marijuana. We also realized, well, the maximum weight for a checked bag here at PDX, 50 pounds as well. At PDX, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
That passenger was like, not really, it's Oregon.
I mean, nearly 1,500 pounds, but yeah, I guess it's Oregon. What do you expect?
Coincidence? Yeah. I think not.
Probably not.
All right, we've got ourselves some great weather now. I mean, so much better than the fog of yesterday, right?
Oh, beautiful.
Glad it's cleared out, right?
Yeah,
Feels good.
Really, really good. Let's take you outside right now. There's our Wells Fargo Skycam, 48 degrees. The wind is out of the east. It's lightened up a bit. But if you are anywhere, especially east of I-205, you know it's blowing very, very strongly. And that wind did us a massive favor. It's the reason we are 8, 18, 16 degrees warmer than we were at this time yesterday as the valley cleared out, except down around Eugene and Roseburg where it's chilly and foggy there. And now the fog is set in to the Columbia Basin. You can see it here. It kind of sloshes around a bit, but it's not going to clear out tomorrow. And Eugene, Roseburg, you're probably going to stay stuck in the soup as well, but everybody else got out of it and warmed up to near 60 here in the metro area. So closer to, put it this way, closer to the records than they are to the averages. Down the south coast, Brookings hit 75. That's where the warm weather was today in Oregon. It will be there again tomorrow. Pendleton only 37. Joseph, even though it's higher in elevation, got up to 50 because you were out of the fog. Now we will see a clear day tomorrow. Clear and breezy all day long, down to about 40 in Portland, but temperatures climb to the mid-50s by tomorrow afternoon. So again, it's going to be another stunner. So the east winds, they've got some staying power right now. They've kicked in. See the gusts all about 30, 35, 37 miles an hour. And they're going to continue into Saturday for the gorge and the east side of Portland. Everywhere else, the winds will really begin to back off tomorrow night and into the weekend. But we've got enough offshore flow and the air is drying out so much because of it that I don't think we're going to go back to dense fog in the Portland area. You've got it in the Columbia Basin, and then the gray shading indicates the air stagnation advisory for several areas and counties in the state of Oregon, all of which is under the influence of this massive area of high pressure, really, really strong area of high pressure that's built here along the west coast. So here's the east wind. Here's the fog being modeled quite well in the Columbia Basin, then down around Roseburg and Eugene. But for us, east and through the gorge, then they bend and they follow the terrain and they go from north to south down the valley. But again, it's this dry air, so no fog for anybody here. Then we see this little eddy form off the southern Oregon coast, curiously enough. That's a very summer-like feature, actually. It's weird to see it in January. Well, that'll bring some low clouds up the coast towards Coos Bay. We get out of it, or we don't go into it, I should say, right on through the weekend as high pressure just remains intact over us until about Wednesday. Weak system drifts in from the north and west. Probably get some precipitation out of that. But right now, it does not look like heavy precipitation like we had last week up in the Cascades. 48 degrees right now, freezing level 12,400 feet. On the Oregon coast, enjoy. Highs around 60. East winds, but they're pretty gentle. Some really great beach weather. In the valleys, mostly clear except down around Eugene. Highs will be in the mid-50s, so a bit cooler than tonight. And there may be some frost in places like Salem and Corvallis as you drop down to about freezing, but that will be brief. Sunny and windy still in the Cascades. We'll get some gusts there of about 40 or 45. Central and eastern Oregon, it's the valley fog with sunshine above, and the higher elevations will be the warmer areas again. In the gorge, east winds gusting to 55. We already gusted about 55 today in the gorge, and that'll continue tomorrow. And clear and windy in Portland. Lows above freezing because of the wind. Highs will be in the mid-50s again. Will be 53 Saturday. 54 on Sunday, staying clear right on through MLK Junior Day on Monday. So beautiful holiday weekend. And Tuesday is still good. Back to work day is even good before the showers return on Wednesday and Thursday. But like I said, even that doesn't look very heavy at this point. So, boy, it's been a little bit rough on the snowpack, but easy to take in the sunshine.
Yeah, perfect. I cannot even wait for the weekend now, but also don't mind the showers ahead.
All right,
Okay,
good deal.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, time to make some moves, apparently.
Yeah, you know, in the world of college football where everything's very chaotic, well, this is a little bit of a continuity and consistency for the Oregon Ducks. Head coach Dan Lanning is promoting from within for the top two positions on his staff, naming Chris Hampton defensive coordinator and Drew Meringer offensive coordinator. Hampton just finished his third season with the Ducks coaching defensive backs, while Meringer has been with Lanning for all 4 seasons as the tight ends coach. The Oregon offense will have another weapon in the receiver room. Evan Stewart announced he's returning to Oregon. Stewart missed all of last season with a knee injury. In 2024, though, he had 48 catches for over 600 yards. Let's kick it. First day of school type of vibe at the Timbers Training Center. The club back to work this week to kick off the preseason. With the departure of midfielder David Ajala, general manager Ned Grabavoy expects to see multiple additions to the roster in the coming weeks. This year's schedule is different with the month-long break due to the World Cup in June. So head coach Phil Neville wants to hit the ground running.
We're sleeping in this building till May because then we get another 52 days without football. So I'd say that this season is going to be different. When you're looking at last season when it was a complete marathon, you then have to manage time, minutes, recoveries, players. But I think this season that ultimately is a big change.
The Timbers will play 6 preseason games over the next month. The season opener, February 21st. The Portland Thorns channeling their artistic side, collabing with the Portland Art Museum to drop the 2026 schedule. The Thorns will open the season on the road against the Washington Spirit March 13th, a rematch of last season's playoff semifinal. The home opener, March 20th, against rival Seattle.
Hillsboro, honestly, the area of Portland, I mean, it is the epicenter of women's sports. And I wouldn't have said that unless we brought softball into the mix. So.
Olympian and ESPN broadcaster Jessica Mendoza officially introducing the Portland Cascade, one of 6 teams from around the country competing in the Athletes Unlimited Softball League. The Cascade will play at Hillsboro Ballpark. League Commissioner Kim Ng on bringing the AUSL to Oregon.
This market has shown it will support women's sports on a large-scale basis. And quite simply, you all show up.
Ng says season ticket sales have been terrific since they went on sale less than 48 hours ago. The Cascade begins play in June. And it is so good to be back. Just one more sleep until the season premiere of Friday Night Hoops, your one-stop shop for girls and boys high school basketball. Scores and highlights from around the region. Our team of photographers could be coming to a gym near you, so lock in. It's going down right here on KGW News at 11. The season premiere of Friday Night Hoops coming your way.
So glad to have your fanfare back.
You know, it's been a while.
And your fans too. You got 2 right here. So.
That's true. We're big fans.
At least 2.
Bring the popcorn. It's going to be a show tomorrow.
We're doing it.
Looking forward to that. Thanks, Orlando. Straight ahead, the connection between Habitat for Humanity and the Pope, how it's spurring some great work locally for those in need. That story is next.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Welcome back. Well, Seahawks fans are hoping for a big win against the 49ers this Saturday at Lumen Field.
Well, the big rivalry has some scientists wondering if Seattle fans will cause another earthquake. So the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network has set up 6 seismometers on the concrete around the stadium to see whether fans can have the ground shaking. This is what the devices look like. The network's director says they'll have a team at the stadium monitoring it all in real time.
The goal is really just to actually make a scientific measurement of how hard the place shakes when the 12s get going. And it's the same thing an earthquake does in many ways, but it's coming from just everybody jumping up and down and hooting and hollering in the stands.
Hooting and hollering. You might remember the famous Beast Quake back in 2011. That's when Marshawn Lynch completed a 67-yard touchdown run against the Saints. Researchers say this time around they'll have a more accurate reading because that quake was picked up from a device near the stadium, not inside the actual stadium. We'll see. New tonight, Habitat for Humanity is launching a new effort in Southwest Portland's Markham neighborhood called the Pope Leo Village. It's part of a 16-city campaign spurred by an anonymous donor, inspired by the new Pope's message of social justice and service to others. Locally, construction is now underway on 17 affordable homes, which altogether can house up to 70 people. Turns out Habitat needs your help.
You do not need a construction background to volunteer here with Habitat Portland Region. We have amazing staff, amazing core volunteers who will train you, give you tool trainings, all the safety that we so value. We love teaching people how to use new tools that they've never done before. It's a great experience and a wonderful way to help your neighbors in need.
And if you've never been to one of those builds, lots and lots of people on those construction sites hard at work like you see there. So if you're interested in getting involved, you can check out habitatportlandregion.org. The local development is scheduled to be complete in early 2027.
Glad it's dry for them too. All right, check this out. The Blue Angels are on the ground in the Rose City. 2 officers from the demo team are at the Portland Air National Guard base preparing for this year's Oregon International Air Show.
It's got a fantastic lineup from what I've seen so far. McMinnville is always a fantastic show. We haven't been here since 2023 and the entire team is eager to come back.
It's incredible. I mean, we're all here for this, as part of the Blue Angels mission. And we are entrusted to wear these crests and represent the United States Navy and Marine Corps day in and day out, no matter how far away from any military base we may be. So it's a huge honor, and every time we get into this jet, we feel that sense of motivation.
I mean, I remember watching these pilots, not those pilots, I hope, in the 80s and 90s when I was a kid, but some of them have longevity, right? So looking forward to that. The Blue Angels will show up in the skies over McMinnville in mid-August. Doesn't quite feel like summer right now, but a little bit of spring in the air. You can feel that.
Yeah, and you know what? You were talking about seeing them when you were a kid. I've never seen them, so they're definitely on my bucket list. Have you?
I have not.
Okay, maybe it's on our bucket
Gotta
list
take a
when
field
they're
trip, the two of you.
exactly in August, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so 6:30 half hours coming up. Blair, what have you been working on?
So Portland City Council has a new president. District 1's Jamie Dunphy laid out his priorities today, while again maintaining that he doesn't really want the job. Among his top priorities, Portland's permitting process and crumbling city roads, unspent housing money, and creating unity on council.
Candidly, there was a lot of ugliness that happened in the last couple of days. We need to find a path forward. We need to demonstrate that this is a body of serious lawmakers who are serious about the future of the city.
It's the first time someone representing East Portland takes on this role. More on Dunphy's plans coming up right after the break here on KGW+.